Welcome back to Halo Halo, the show that aims to spotlight our very own talented APA artists. And our filmmaker spotlight today is Sandy Yu, whose quirky and highly entertaining web series, Misguidance, is making waves through numerous web fests. Let's go behind the scenes with Sandy Yu, who is joined by her co-star, Paul Masterson.
The idea just came about through conversation with friends, you know, and then this character about a girl is trying to give advice but is terrible at it, kind of like, oh, there's something funny about that. So I wanted to create a show based on her.
I think you should just take one day at a time. Just turn that frown upside down, all the way to downtown.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, there's not really a show like that where there's an Asian American lead, and so I thought it would be a really good platform.
Yes. So. And this is the first film or web series that you've created.
Yes, first time writing, first time creating anything like this.
What was that process like? Because it's basically you're creating this whole different world and characters, right? What was that process like?
It was hard at first. I mean, just because I just wanted to write. Right. I thought, you know, it would be really empowering to start writing, you know. And I started just writing with this character. I thought it was going to be a short. And it turned out, like, you know, just the story just expanded and more characters came into play. So I thought it would be really great to just have a web series, you know.
Speaking of characters, Paul, your character is hilarious.
Thank you.
How did you tackle that role?
Well, I mean, there was already a lot that was written there, and then we had our table reads, and you know, I just used my imagination of it. I mean, Sandy had already created all these situations, and I started throwing ideas of, hey, you know, do you think it'd be funny if? Right. And then just in creating that world and kind of spending my time imagining what my life would be as Counselor Jerkins, it just made sense to start playing around with things, with clothing choices, with just interactions. And when you have great people to work with who are improvisers and who are open to collaboration, you just start of riffing, and that's it's like joking around with friends. You come up with funnier and funnier jokes.
I can see the chemistry with all of you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I heard that it took 8 days to record 8 episodes. Did you have extra time to rehearse, or was it pretty much on the go on your feet?
No, actually, we just had one official table read, and when everybody met everybody that one time, and we had a couple weeks left to shoot, and we just kind of did it, you know, working with professionals here.
It was a fast process.
Yes.
That's very rare. You guys are professionals. Now, what was the most challenging part of filming? I'll start with you, Paul.
I don't think there was anything particularly. I mean, it was just a case of we were shooting a lot in a small amount of time, and a lot of us had other jobs or other projects. So I think the hardest thing was just being on set at 8 o'clock in the morning when you maybe have gotten off of work at 4 o'clock in the morning. But I think, you know, it was really a joy, because I think maybe the hardest part was, we don't get to play around with another option there. But it was a great problem to have, of just everybody was so generous of spirit and was there to play and help share a story. So I think that was the toughest thing. If you wanted to go back and try something else that was funny, but you just got to keep moving when you don't have time or budget to keep playing around. But
How about for you, Sandy?
I think it's playing different roles, you know, as a executive producer, casting even. I was in the casting process and being the actor and the writer. I think that was a little bit challenging, but it was very rewarding at the end, you know, working with these wonderful people. So,
what was your favorite scene?
oh, man.
I think one of my favorites was the outside dancing scene of. And probably we shorted it down the conference room scene, where just sort of where I was both supporting and inserting, undermining Nilly, but it was just a joy, the entire process. It was just a lot of fun.
It's making waves at WebFest. Why do you think it's resonated so well with the audience?
I think it's just because it has a lot of heart, you know, I think. And that's exactly what I would want, you know, for people to watch it and be able to relate to it, you know, and have fun with it, you know. I think that's one reason, you know, one of the many, I hope, you know, and also just seeing a different face, you know, a different look, you know. So I think that's.
I think everybody feels a little out of place sometimes, you know. I think regardless of what you're doing, and I think and not really understanding and kind of trying to. Thinking that you're going to achieve one result with what you're doing of, oh, I've got this great thing to say, and maybe the girl now will you know, go on a date with me, and then it completely lands flat and she gets insulted and you're like, oh, I think everyone's kind of been there. And so I think you can tell when people it's very real, and it's fun and it's playful. I think and there's nothing mean-spirited, even in the undermining.
I don't know, Mr. Jerky.
But I mean, I think you can tell. I feel like it's all part of the story. There's nothing really. I think one of the things I also really like about it is it's part of that. I don't particularly like comedy that is at the expense of anyone.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing of even when there's. All of the individuals in the story are working on something. You know, they all have something that they're trying to fix or trying to improve, and none of them are just coming in and kind of like knocking over people's lives and saying, you know, I
So
messed
true.
you up.
So true. Now, for the viewers, where can they go to see the web series?
It's out on YouTube.com. Channel is Misguidance TV, so that's youtube.com/misguidancetv, and it's also streaming on streamnowtv.com/misguidancetv.
Very short. It's only 8 episodes. I'm looking forward to a second season, I hope, because I want to know what happens to, you know. I won't say, but yeah, to everybody. Stay tuned, because after the break, we premiere the first episode of Misguidance, and you can find out for yourself why it's received so many nominations and awards at the festivals, all when we return.